to go. We go from 6 down to in the 30s. Like Mr. Fiedel said, we're down near the bottom in the region. So again, but we're 6th in the state. So something doesn't really match up there. So we need to look at that. Again, I'm very pro-school, pro-education. We're for public or school resource officers here in Greene County, especially Ruckersville. They need one, but it was not passed this time. I would work to do that.
Thank you, Mr. King. Ms. Morris?
The impact on the budget, we must tailor the needs of each one and make a careful decision on what the citizens of Greene will support. As a former supervisor, I had the opportunity to respond to the school's needs. We as citizens must do everything to keep our teachers. They are the people that has the responsibility of teaching our children how to read, write, and do math, getting them ready for the outside world. My hat goes off to the teachers. We must support their needs as well as keeping the tax dollars in our classrooms. We need to meet with the school board and their financial advisor, plus the county advisor, and find out how much money the citizens can afford to pay. Then come to a compromise and do what is best for our teachers, children, and the citizens of Greene County. I think I have pretty much summed it up for question 2 and 3.
Thank you, Ms. Morris. Mr. Martin?
Thanks, Ms. Boyd. At over 60% of our budget, the school's line item is the one that attracts the most attention during our annual budget deliberations. There's no doubt that our school budget has been squeezed in recent years. Much of this is due to federal and state budget cuts. This past year, the funds from these sources were cut by $750,000. Greene County taxpayers generously made up the difference. There's no doubt that compensation for Greene County teachers is slipping relative to neighboring counties. This makes Greene less competitive for the best teachers in the area. 2 important questions about school funding. Are we providing a quality, competitive education for our children? And second, are we able to retain quality teachers to help us achieve that goal? The answers to these questions are important to our children and, of course, for their parents, but they're also critical for the future of Greene's economy. New businesses want to know whether the community that they're going to invest in has strong schools so that they can have a strong workforce. It'd be nice to announce that I will promise that our schools will be fully funded and that teachers will receive their first real pay increase in years. But that would be dishonest. It doesn't work that way. The Board of Supervisors' duty to our children and their parents is to support the best schools that we can afford. But the board's duty to all of our residents is to carefully study each line in the county budget against the value that it delivers and the county's ability to provide that funding. Here's my bottom line. I firmly believe that strong schools ensure a strong community. And if elected, I'll help improve communication between the Board of Supervisors and the school board so that we can find a clear funding path to stronger schools and greater support for and retention of our excellent teachers. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, last prepared question, and I see, I believe the basket has been going around collecting your questions, so if you still have a card in hand, if you need to get out, find somebody to grab that question for you. They may be out in the hall. All right, our third prepared question, and for this one, we'll be starting with Mr. King. Candidates, what do you view as the biggest challenge facing our county, and what are some key measures you would advocate for to help address this challenge? Mr. King.
The key challenge, it's challenge, not challenges, is improved teamwork. Everything I've ever been involved in, I got a coworker out here, I got a former coworker, J.B. Watson, who may prove to be instrumental after this week. But my character and reputation of teamwork, honesty and integrity, the guy that really stands for something here in Greene County, those of you that know him. Again, how are we going to work with the Board of Supervisors, their school board, say, hey, we're giving the money, we need to earn more money, we need to get the tax revenue up. I think there's a communication gap. I go in these areas, these departments, I don't see too many annual reports hitting me in the face when I go in to visit. No performance measures, there's some, but they're not out there for the public to see. We need to see those. We're competing for funds. There's some programs out there that's highly more important than others, and you know which ones they are. hear other departments supporting the sheriff's office ICAC program, other departments supporting the school like it should be. You know, we need to give and take. One year we may get this facility, next year get the ICAC investigator, next year get a job or the library, the funds that they need. We need to rotate, we need to work with each department, and I think that's missing. Again, communication is the thing out here. It's not taxes, it's not money. People say, we need to work on communication here in Greene County. We don't know what the other people are doing. They won't tell us. We don't know. Water impoundment is a big issue. We gotta have it. It's not, we want it, we have to have it. We have to get the economic tax base up. Schools, and there's gonna be more, there's gonna be growth. What kind of growth do we want? More subdivisions, more businesses, low impact, environmentally sound businesses. Again, it's gonna be give and take no matter what we choose. But, again, all these things we need to work on. Communication, again, working with each department to see they get the needs, the seniors, the children. Again, go and Google sex offender registry here in Greene County, and you'll see what I'm talking about. They're out there. I think it's the need.
Thank you, Mr. Keene. Ms. Morris?
Yes, that's the whole situation with the, I'm saying the citizens of Greene. We need to open up some kind of communications with the school. Again, with maybe through their financial advisor, our financial advisor, and talk about what we can afford and can't afford. I really believe that our teachers should get the best pay that they can possibly get. I take my hat off to these people because they're with your children probably the majority of the time more than you are. And our children is our gateway here in Greene County. But we need to open up the communications, and the citizens need to get more involved, whether it's with the schools or with attending the Board of Supervisors meeting. You need to show your concern about what's going on. If you've got a problem, come to the board meetings. They have matters from the public there. You have a right to speak. And again, we need to open up the communications between the board and the school and the citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Morris. Mr. Martin?
Population growth without commercial growth results in a community that relies too much on property taxes to pay for the services that the residents demand. Greene County's biggest challenge, in my view, is to increase commercial activity to relieve this pressure on our property taxes. We need more commercial activity to create jobs and shopping closer to home, but more importantly, to increase our sales tax revenues to relieve some of the burden on we, the private property owners. Fortunately, we've got a documented success. Did you know that since 2006, we are earning $600,000 per year in sales tax revenue that we weren't getting before that time? This is the equivalent of 4 cents in property taxes. Imagine if we could triple or quadruple that. We can manage this growth by providing an attractive environment for both existing and new businesses to thrive in. We can do this by establishing market-based water and sewer fees, providing incentives for new business, and having strong schools to provide a well-educated workforce for those businesses that decide to invest here. We can and should promote ourselves to businesses that are quiet and clean, businesses that provide growth and value in Greene County while preserving our valuable rural way of life. Our designated growth areas only comprise 6% of our county's land, and we have plenty of commercial and residential space already zoned within that 6% for this purpose. What are the 2 key measures that I would advocate to make this happen? Increased business activity brought about by the efforts of Greene County's Economic Development Authority, and stronger schools. Why stronger schools? Because businesses are attracted to communities that demonstrate that they value excellence in their schools.
Thank you. Last up on biggest challenges, Mr. Friedel.
The biggest challenge facing Greene is summed up by the first 2 questions. How do we continue to support our seniors, our children, grow business and jobs, provide water and sewer, all while protecting the rural beauty and values we cherish? We We must continue to make smart, balanced choices and be as lean and productive as possible. In my first year, I introduced policies requiring accountability from the board and detailed performance reports from all departments and agencies. I believe in hiring competent people and measuring their results closely. I introduced the first ever fiscal reserve policy to protect against overspending. These policies have kept us from the tax raises that we have seen in Madison and Albemarle and Fluvanna. They helped us build the financial savings that allowed us to start the water supply project that's needed to provide drinking water and the capacity we need to bring in new businesses. Revising our water connection fees to encourage business growth is a complex issue and requires a complex solution. The current fees do not pay the bill. Any connection fee reduction would have to be paid by the taxpayer. We need a better solution. I have seen how government restrictions can hinder growth and prosperity and what removing them accomplishes. For example, in the initial rezoning of the Greene subdivision, there was an arbitrary house size limitation. As a result of this policy, only 12 building permits had been approved, with no new growth plan. When the board removed the barrier, letting the free market respond, 70 new permits were approved. These houses provide new revenue that helped keep our tax rate stable and helped attract the business growth that brought in $1.6 million new dollars to the county. This balance of budget knowledge, accountability, small government, strong education, and conservative values is the key to the future. I look forward to the opportunity.
Thank you very much, candidates. All right, I've got some awesome questions up here. I'm hoping we'll be able to get through all of these. I'll start by reading out the question, and then the first respondent on this one is going to be Ms. Morris. So the question is, county annual budget decisions are a process of deciding how much the county wants to spend, and then what tax rate is necessary to fund these commitments. What areas of the county budget do you think could be trimmed, and where do you think you could be spending more? Ms. Morris.
This might hit below the belt, but I'm saying the school. I'm sorry. I believe that the budget from the school could be cut, and I believe some of the other agencies in the county could be cut. Instead of hiring the full-time help in our county, we should hire part-time help. This way, our county will not be paying the benefits like the insurance litigations and sick leave or whatever. But our taxes were raised, and I'm so disappointed in that. I know how much revenue we have coming in. As a matter of fact, again, I have talked to Larry Snow, our commissioner, and if our taxes, if the Board of Supervisors wanted to raise our taxes to support anything, they should only raise it 1 cent. My concern, I called Mr. Payton, and he totally agreed. As a matter of fact, the budget could really be looked at. The sheriff's office, I was there tonight that the sheriff's office gave money back to the county. I was there tonight that the school gave, well, it wasn't really gave back, it just wasn't distributed out of the budget, their money back. But if you take in each individual agency, whether it would be our treasurer's office, our commissioner's office, the administrative office, we can cut. The tax burden does not have to be on the citizens of Greene County. And it breaks my heart that this board has done this. Again, people ask me why I run. 18,000 citizens in Greene County. But that's why I ran. We need to be protected. We need to put people on that board that are conservative, that will look out after the citizens, make sure they're not taxed out of their homes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Morris. Mr. Martin?
Thank you very much. You know, in my view, the schools seem to get all the attention because they're the biggest part of the budget. At 60+% of the budget, it's pretty natural that that's where the focus would go. And there should be a focus there. But every county department, in my view, is subject to a hard scrutinization of what they're spending, how they're spending it, and how they have a plan for cutting costs where they can. I don't know that this county has ever heard of zero-based budgeting. It may be worth a look-see, rather than increments year to year, start from scratch. Might be an interesting challenge for our department heads to go through for 1 or 2 years. So yes, the schools need to be looked at, but every department needs to be looked at. And I hear talk that we need to take care of our teachers, and I hear hints of salary increases for teachers, but then I hear, but no, we got to make cuts. So I'm hearing 2 things tonight, and those 2 things don't go together. Now, on the tax rate, we went from 69 cents to 72 cents. 4 years ago, it was 72 cents. We've had tax assessments that have decreased significantly. And the way that I view that vote, I think it was a courageous vote by the 3 who voted in favor of the 3-cent increase. I view it as a true equalization to try and get back to level funding so that this county could do essentially what had been done the year before. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Mr. Friedel. And just a reminder, this question is not just what can be trimmed, but also where you can spend more.
Well, last year, the school budget was the only budget in the county that went down, or the major budget that went down. The school budget decreased by approximately $600,000 because there were state cuts in the amount of $600,000, and the schools chose to cut positions, cut where they could in order to help keep the tax rate low. Other departments in the county have increased. I mean, it's always a balance, and it's a balance of what's needed. We talk about some of the programs that the Sheriff's Department has added. Those have come at a cost. They're good programs. The other thing that's increased spending in the county in the last 3 years is the mandated pay increase for all employees in order to meet the VRS funding. So that's increased the budget. The budget's increased, the average department has increased by 2%. Mr. Martin mentioned zero-based budgeting. One of the reasons why we chose the new county administrator is he has experience in zero-based budgeting. And it brings a new perspective and a new opportunity to look for ways to find cuts.
Thank you, Mr. Friedel. Last up, Mr. Keene.
Again, I'm all for creating committees, cross-sectional committees from different departments to say, hey, this year, who needs the money? Who may need it next year? I'm all for that. Again, I'm for the school, I'm for the raises, if they're appropriate. Again, I've been 6 years now without a raise, just got the 2%, so it was hard times. Sometimes you may have to go out and get a second job. That's what I've been doing most of my career. I've had 2 jobs most of the time. I think there's ways to go out and earn an extra dollar, just get by these hard times. I'm pro-education. But you asked me what programs would I trim and what would I do differently. The criminal justice system is eating us alive. It's draining us dry. It's not the school system. Look at the stats. Governor McDonald's son got a DUI, a couple months ago. How much was the ticket? Anybody remember? $25. They didn't even pay the officer's time to write the ticket. Didn't pay the court cost. But guess who's paying those fees? We are. We're paying criminal justice for people to sit in jail. Juveniles bust out of windows, sit in jail. Smoking marijuana cigarettes, sit in jail. Again, we're doing things now to work the probationers, the silent highway program. Probationers picking up trash instead of sitting home on their butt. You see them out here in the yellow vest. If you don't see the stripes on them, they're the probationers. If you see the stripes, they're the trustees or the work gang from the jail. Free program. Mr. Friedel said sheriff's office enacted programs that cost money. I can't think of one. He promised no tax dollars to go towards any program. The sign of highways, nothing. CERT is completely volunteer. I gave a firearm safety class this morning, and there was no funds went out of the budget. Any program that Sheriff Smith has enacted, there's been zero tax dollars enacted. We went to Nashville, Tennessee to get the ICAC equipment for Moose International for free. And we can't even get rewarded to get the investigator to work on that. So I'd like to know after this form's over, which program is costing the taxpayers?
Thank you, Mr. President. All right, the second question from the audience, and the first person who's going to be up to answer this question will be Mr. Martin. In recent Greene County elections, there's been a growing tension about candidates who have lived here most of their lives versus more recent residents. In a county where future decisions about governance will steadily become more complex, how important is that issue? Mr. Martin.
I know that issue is out there. I bump into it frequently. I don't find it irrelevant because certainly people who have lived here longer understand the issues better. But we're all Greene County residents. Those who were born here were blessed to be raised in a beautiful area. But others came here by choice after a life of hard work and said, this looks like a great place to live. And a lot of them are very active in the community and very involved in local government issues. And some of them are pretty dang smart. We need to benefit from the human resources from newcomers and folks who are also born and raised here. If you've got something to offer, join in, run for local office, volunteer, get involved in your faith-based, in your churches. Everyone's participation is valued and counts. Every single one of us. And no one should be discounted because they weren't born here.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Mr. Friedel?
I don't think it matters at all. I think what matters is commitment and effort. And I was at the Peace Garden Festival today at Mount Vernon Church, where a lot of people volunteered their time to raise money for the community. And that was a mix of people that grew up here and people that moved here. I didn't see any different in the effort from one or the other. As Mr. Martin said, the important thing is being involved and active in your community and caring. And I don't think that someone that's lived here 100 years or someone that's lived here 1 year, neither of them has a market on caring. It's just about effort. So, and I know there's concern